All right, cool. I'm going to get started. So this is the new SEO and GEO, which stands for Generative Engine Optimization, that like AI formula for automotive restylers and accessory installers. And I'm Jesse Stoddard. I'm CEO of AutoStyle Marketing, and I'm going to show you guys how to attract more ideal customers without wasting money on ads that don't convert or hiring another agency that ghosts you or gives you problems. We've all had a lot of those issues in the past. So I'm going to dive right into it. So if you're running aftermarket accessory shop, so anybody that's watching this right now, if you're in that industry or reselling business, then you're in the right place. And you want a consistent stream of qualified customers, then this webinar is for you. This is really valuable information. And there's a lot of things that have happened that have changed in the recent couple of years. And so we're focusing on the changes and how we can adapt to them. And we're going to break down how search and AI are changing the game and how you can dominate both Google and tools like ChatGPT or Claude or any of those. So there's a lot of changes that are going on, and we're gonna go through that stuff. AI has had a huge impact. Artificial intelligence, it's influencing SEO. Some people say things like SEO is dead. It's not. It's actually becoming more important than ever. And there are strategies that for current search engine optimization that are going to continue to work. And then there's some things that will no longer work anymore. So that's what we're going to go over. And it isn't what it used to be. Okay, so your customers aren't only going to Google anymore. I don't know if you're like me, but you might whip out your phone, or you might whip out like ChatGPT or another AI tool, or even on Google, there's Gemini. When you do a search, you see it at the top. And so people are asking ChatGPT or Gemini things like, who does ceramic coating near me? Or where's the best Jeep upfitter in town? People will just ask questions. And instead of going directly to the list of websites below and hunting and searching, they're more impatient. They just want their answer. And so they're gonna go with what that AI search result is, and then the link to that website, whichever one is winning the game, because they do cite that. So we're going to show you how to appear in those results and still crush it on Google at the same time. So before it was all about Google search, that was it. Now we've got all these different AI powered search. And still, Google still dominates though, but AI is gaining and AI is becoming a part of Google. So it doesn't matter whether you're looking at it from just like a Google perspective or another one, you're going to see that there's a lot of different options there. And recently, about 35% of searches are now AI related. And, but that's growing. That's growing fast. And so it's a huge part of the market, and it's only going to increase. So next thing is, despite the AI shift, Google is still the king for service-based searches. So if you're like, as opposed to e-commerce. So for example, if you're an accessory store, right, and you're selling on e-commerce, it's a slightly different game. But if you're in service like Restylers are, then it's definitely AI is becoming a bigger part of it. And around 70% of clicks go to the top 3 to 4 listings on Google Maps and organic. So if you're not showing up there, you're leaving thousands or more in revenue on the table, especially when vehicles today stay on the road longer. So a lot of the SEMA reports that have come out in the last couple of years about the average age of vehicles is increasing. So we've got 12 plus years as that average age, which means now people are starting to think, especially if it's too expensive to buy a new vehicle, they're thinking, well, maybe I should just upgrade my current vehicle. So there's actually great demand. That's a good thing. But it also says that you've got to, SEO is definitely going to be more important in that search, because the search is going to increase, and that's a good thing. That's the glasses half full part of this, right? So it is valuable. Also, well, one more thing about that slide, there's an image there in the middle about cost of lead. And remember, paid ads are always going to end up costing more in the long run. Paid ads are so wonderful because they're like a sprint, but the marathon that we want to win is SEO and GEO, which is the generative optimization. So that is like a long play. It's a long game. And that's where a lot of your competitors are going to fail, because they can't wait. They want leads now. They want sales now. And so ads is still such a focus, but then long-term SEO is cheaper and better. And there's another thing about ads, and I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but I just went to a convention in Florida for marketing this last week. And there was all this stuff about AI and search and changes on Google. And one of the things that was very clear is that the cost of ads is increasing. It's been increasing for the last couple of years, but it's increasing even more. And then we predict that it's going to go even higher, because as people in the traditional like service SEO game, like people trying to rank, doing the old school stuff, as that stops working and people and business owners see their traffic decreasing, they're going to get nervous. And so the only thing that they're going to know what to do immediately, it's kind of like a knee-jerk reaction, is to put more money into ads. Well, what happens when everybody floods ads with more money? It increases the cost of the ads. So what we're looking at over the next 5 years is I predict a huge increase in the cost of paid ads. Now, paid ads will still have a place, but it's going to be more competitive, and it's going to be harder to get results because the costs are going to go up, and not everybody's going to be able to afford that. So so even then, you're going to want your SEO and your geo, your search, to help fill that gap. And also it'll also influence your ads, because we're finding that ads are now influenced by your SEO. So the days of, I'm just going to throw some money at Google and just get leads and I'm good to go and it's easy, those days are gone. And it's unfortunate, but we got to prepare for it. So new acronyms, let's just make sure we're defining the term. Here's a quick breakdown. SEO is traditional. It's the optimization for Google. It's search engine optimization. That name was made a long time ago by people that I think they were thinking of it more like a hack where you could trick Google or something. So I think that name it's a bad name, because it makes it sound like you're doing something like to optimize the code. Now that's a part of SEO, but it's much more than that. It's about the content you create. We'll get into more of that in a minute. AEO is another one you might hear thrown around. That stands for Answer Engine Optimization. Like Siri, for example, Alexa, Google Voice. When you're speaking to your phone or your device, and it's responding with a human-like voice sometimes. And then Geo is how you get, that's basically generative engine optimization, like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, all those. It's how you get ranked by AI tools that matters there, which are different from traditional SEO. So all three matter, but Geo is the one most restylers haven't tackled yet, don't even know exist. And so that's where I'm really excited, because that's where we're going to be able to make some progress here. If you look at the little pictures on the screen, navigating the digital search landscape, you got SEO, you got AEO, you got GEO, they all matter, and they all lead to enhanced online visibility. So your brand needs to focus its efforts on all of those. So you've got Google, you still need to do Google, focusing on SEO to appear in search engine results. You have Siri and Alexa, so now you got to optimize for that to be found through voice queries. So it's a lot of FAQs and a lot of things about kind of the natural way people speak and ask questions is important for that. And then ChatGPT and Gemini and those kind of tools, we're going to get into what requires to rank there, and that's the AI-driven interactions are going to be important too. So all of them matter now. All right. So what does ChatGPT show when someone looks for you? All right, so ChatGPT primarily is pulling from Google Maps, places like Yelp or Nextdoor, or those kind of websites that are listing websites. It could even pull from SEMA. If you're a SEMA member and you're ranked somewhere there, it's going to look at citations or directories or online listing sites like yellowpages.com, for example, or whatever. There's all those different websites. It's also looking at social media a bit, and then it is also pulling from your website content. So the people want a quick trick or an answer to make it easy, and there isn't one. So you really have to optimize all of them to show up in AI search, and it's trickier than it used to be. So just to give you an idea of how it actually finds recommends your shop, it's going to pull from all of these things: your Google listing, your online directories, your citations, and your website. And so if your online presence is incomplete, you're invisible, essentially. So that's the number one, is get the basics done, which is make sure you're just showing up on all those. Here's an updated SEO stack for 2025. This is our updated formula, what we use to get our clients ranked. It's not just about your website anymore. It's about your technical setup, the content structure, offsite authority, like other websites pointing to you, local SEO presence, your geography, how you're showing locally, and now optimization for generative search. And so we have technical SEO. I used to say that there's three kinds of SEO, and it's still true. There's on-site, off-site, and technical, okay? But on-site is anything on the website. Technical is the coding part in the website. And then offsite are other websites that are that are mentioning you in some way. Now we could kind of get a little deeper in that one. Number one, we would say technical, and we would say, okay, how fast is your website? Especially on mobile nowadays, you get downgraded if your mobile site isn't fast, your user experience. And then schema, kind of like the behind the scenes, like map of your sitemap type of thing, and the information about each page. It's kind of a technical term, but it's just basically when the website is built, is it coded cleanly in a sense, right? Then number two is your on-page SEO. So that is your content. Are you using keywords naturally, and are you using the right keywords in the right places? Do you have service and city pages? Meaning, let's say you do a spray and bed liner, and you do it in, I'm just going to pick a city that, like Chicago. Okay. So do you have a spray in bed liner in Chicago page? Right? Do you have a page for truck upfitting, or do you have a ladder racks for fleet vehicles in Chicago? Those would be specific services in specific city, and that's one of the older methods that still is relevant today, and it still works. Just the structure of your pages, basically. So that's all your on-page. Off-page SEO are things that are not on your website. There are other websites that are linking to you. So let's say somebody writes an article and then mentions, hey, these guys are really good at installing, or these guys are really good at vehicle wrap or window tint, and they send a link to your website. That would be called a backlink. But another backlink is as simple as your social profiles, like your Facebook page, including the link to your website, is considered a backlink. Another one would be press releases. Okay, so a press release would be, you put out an article that you submit to a local news outlet or website or a blog, or somebody that is talking about automotive, and they, something new that's happening in the industry or new that's happening for your company, and they decide to post it or reference it, and then they link to your website. All of those are valuable off-page SEO activities. Local SEO is more things very specific to your area, your geography. So an example would be Google Business Profile. That's probably the number one place to start, by the way. That's the number one place we start with our clients. Your Google Business Profile, obviously it's Google's product, and they love their product, right? They don't even really want anybody going to your website. They want to keep it all in their platform as much as they can. So everything you can do to optimize that Google Business Profile is only becoming more important. And what do I mean by optimize? Well, it means like, okay, is your name perfect? Is your address and name, address, phone number, and website on there correct? It's not incorrect. Number one, basics. Number two is, do you have a really good written description that includes the keywords relevant to your services and products? And that's trickier than it sounds, because some people will just write a description like, we've been in business for 43 plus years and everybody loves us. Well, that's okay to include, but that didn't say anything about what you do. Your description on your Google profile has to say you're the number one window tint, shop in the in Chicago area, right? So it has to be very specific, and it has to talk about, we do these services, and kind of do it in a nice, in a human way, not a keyword stuffing way, like discussing you in a way that sounds natural and polished. So you really have your core messaging in that description in your Google Business Profile. And I recommend reviewing that regularly, at least once a quarter, and make sure it's still accurate, because it really does influence that quite a bit. Another thing is what's called review velocity. Review velocity is not just that you have reviews, but how frequent are they? So I'm going to give you an example. I've seen people, Restylers even, one of them has like 75 reviews, and the other one, and there's a new one that only has like 15 or 20. And yet the one that has 15 or 20 starts ranking higher. Why? They only have 15 or 20 reviews. The other one has like 75 plus. Well, it's because the one with 75 plus got their reviews 5 years ago, and no one's left a review in the last year or two, because they just kind of forgot about it and they let it sit there. And the new guy has like 15 brand new reviews. And so Google looks at the recency, not just the volume. And that's something that people don't think about. So you have to constantly be trying to get new reviews to replace the old ones. And then also directories. Directories are things like, like I said, yellowpages.com, or you might not even think of some of these websites, but they are websites that list businesses, and you want to be accurate on those. And then number 5 is the geo optimization, AI friendly content, citations, FAQs. I have a checklist for you that I'm going to give you on how to really make sure that you're doing everything you can for the geo optimization at the end. So, because it's a long list, but just in brief, what the AI is looking for is authority. It's looking for trust signals. Trust signals are thing that says this company is legit. This website is legitimate and valid. They really answer questions here. When people want to know about window tint in Chicago, they've really answered all their questions about how much does it cost, or what are the price estimates? What does the process look like? What are the different kinds of, of products that we can use? Or if it's PPF, what are the different kind of film options are there? And your website and your content has to answer that. And if it does, AI is going to say, these guys are really helpful and they're going to rank you higher. Now, I oversimplified it. There's a lot more than that, but that gives you kind of the gist of it. All right, let's move on. Your site needs to load fast, period. This affects Google rankings and user experience. So we use tools like GT metrics, page speed insights to audit it. We have Google site speed, which you can just you could type in Google site speed test, and it's a free tool that Google provides, and you can put your URL in it, and it'll run a full report for you. There's a lot of tools that we can use, but the idea is that you want to make sure that your mobile user experience is good and fast, that you either don't use pop-ups or you use them well. Right? You got to be careful with pop-ups, especially on your homepage or maybe on a landing page from an ad. And then there's a fast load time overall. Another common mistake you'll see is that people don't optimize their images. So they put this beautiful image of like this completely customized truck, personalized truck. It looks amazing, but they put the resolution of the photo so high that the page takes a couple seconds to load. And you say, well, what's a couple seconds? Well, Google's measuring it in milliseconds, right? So like if you're just barely too slow for what it says, then it boom, all of a sudden is going to downgrade the experience, and it's going to make you not show up as much as search. So the site foundation is really critical. The same with how when you create your page, does it explain what it is? Does it have the meta tags? Does it have does it have all the tags on the photos, the alt tags? Does it have the H1 headers and all these things? And that's kind of technical, speak. But when you build a page, these are things that have to be put into it to make it work right. And so that Google can read it really easily. That's another critical thing. Pages that rank and convert. So let's go over a couple examples. Each of your services like Lift Kit or Tint or Audio, they need its own page. I mean, when you're first starting out, that's tough. You might have like a services page and you have one page that lists them all, like we do window tint, we do Lift Kit, we do whatever, audio. But eventually, as you grow and build out your website, they need their own page. Same with each city you serve. Now, I was mentioning city pages earlier. Each city you serve or major area or even town needs its own pages for each service. That takes a long time to build, by the way. Sometimes we're working on for years on these websites. And that's okay. You don't have to do it all immediately, but you have to build towards it over time. So we want to optimize these with proper headings, meta description, and content that answer real customer questions. Again, I keep mentioning FAQs. Frequently asked questions is a really great way to do it. The screenshots up there, by the way, are from one of the websites that we built that we really love, and it's Autohouse Automotive. It's Manny's Moncada's website out of Hayward, California. He's got a different design compared to a lot of the other restylers. Now, other designs we love too that are, equally as good, just different. But what really works with his is the focus on the pictures there are screenshots of his spray and bed liner service. And the reason why they're ranking so well they're getting a lot of volume is because they're very informative and they're very thorough. And what we found out when we first searched was, I said, well, is it spraying or spray on? And he's like, well, it's, and everywhere you go in the country, people are saying different words. And it kind of depends on what people search. So spray on might be what is preferred, but people will search spray in. And so what did we do? We had to build 2 pages. We built one for spray in and one for spray on. I actually think I can show you. I'm going to go away from the presentation for a minute here. See if my internet will work for me. So here, showing this for a second. So let me show you here in their move my screen around a little bit here. Forgive me here. So you'll notice we ended up making a spray in and a spray on bedliner page. And if you look on the front, because it's such a focus, he even has enhance your vehicle's utility with our high-end spray in bedliner, because this was technically what he said it should be called. But you'll notice we wrote our spray in bedliners, sometimes called spray on bedliners, are designed to provide superior protection, da, 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 da. And you'll see right in there that spray on is also hyperlinked to a page. So let's look at those for a minute. So if I look at spray in bedliner, we have very well written SEO keyword, titles and subtitles, a lot of pictures, there's before and afters. And you'll notice that even on the spray in bedliner page, it's still referencing spray on and links to that other one. We call that interlinking, right? So it goes through and it answers many common questions. It's very thorough. There's a lot of pictures to show examples. It shows the benefits of it. There's an image gallery, and there are reviews on that page. So we're sharing customer reviews on the page and basically testimonials. And so now this one, the only way I would probably say this could be better is when now we have to sometimes update pages and make them better over time, by the way. You don't set it and forget it forever, is I would add a longer FAQ on the bottom here. And we kind of answered some questions throughout the page, but it could be even better. See, I'm even always trying to upgrade my own skill too, right? So if we look on spray on bedliner, it's not the same content. It's very, very similar, but it's unique. And so now we have spray on, same thing. And we're answering the questions, and we reference the other spray in bedliner and link to it, interlinking, and slightly different pictures and slightly different content, very similar, of course, right? But not identical, because you don't want duplicate content. Google will downgrade you for duplicating your content. And again, we have, there's going to always be ways to improve this page as well. But I'm just giving you an example how much thought would go into that specific service, even though, just as an example of how much thinking you really need to do, because if people say it in different ways, you want to rank for both. So that's what we did there. All right. Thank you for giving me that little aside. I'm going to return back to what I was mentioning. Okay, so just a recap on that page. To make a page rank, make sure you have one page per service. So for example, ceramic coating or audio installs. If you have time, one page per city or service area. So if you're in your primary shop location, you start there. But if you're trying to get people to drive it from half an hour away or an hour away from a neighboring city, you would need those city pages too. And then structured headings, the H1 tags, that's like your titles and your subtitles, things like that. Bullet points are really good. And then FAQs for that generative engine optimization. So those are my big tips for just making sure that you start building pages that rank. Okay, let's talk about dominating your local market on Google Maps. That's a big one. So if you only do one thing after today, claim and optimize your Google business profile, and you probably already have it claimed, but make sure it's optimized and you have as much information, and add real photos, fill out your services. They have all these areas where you can add services. Sometimes you can even make up services on there, and you can even turn your products, your services into products, and there's all kinds of cool things you can do. But just in general, make sure it's filled out. Post weekly. Don't forget that Google Business Profile acts almost like social media. They kind of want it to be, even though we don't really use it that way. Most people don't, but you post on there just like you can post on Facebook or Instagram. You can post on Google Business Profile, and you should be, and weekly if possible or more. And most importantly, automate your review collection. So when people use your service, now we offer software that does this for you in our CRM, where we can send out review requests automatically to people once they finish a job. I also work with Josh Polson with his Restyler Connect software, which has a similar feature. We do both because we really want to make sure people leave reviews. So after someone has a good experience with your shop, the minute that they're done and they're excited about it, right around when you're having them pay their bill and it's top of mind, you have to automate that to make sure you get it. It's no longer good enough to ask them verbally. Of course, you want to ask them verbally for a review. You might even have like a little card at your desk at the shop with a QR code that people can scan. We often create posters and flyers for people, so they just scan it and go. Or maybe it's could be like a rear view mirror hanger that you put in the car. Depends on if it's going to the dealership or not. I know there's only so many things you can do there. And maybe you only get the review from the salesperson, you know, or the sales manager at the dealership. But there's always a way to get a review from somebody. And we really want it from the retail customer, because at the end of the day, you want them to come back even if the dealership's not involved anymore, right? So we're really big on pushing for those reviews, and make sure that's a part of it. So also make sure your business hours are accurate. That might sound like simple, but again, sometimes the fundamentals make a big difference. You know, if you're taking a holiday, let's say you're not going to work on Christmas, you should put in there on the Google business profile that we're closed on Christmas. You might think, why bother with all this? The reason is because the more you make sure Google business profile is accurate, the more Google is going to make it show. It knows, hey, these guys are on top of it. They even put in their day off hours. Okay. And it doesn't take much time. You could have an administrative assistant or somebody in the office that keeps an eye on that, or your marketing team, you know, that kind of thing, and communicate with them. So that is the basics on there. Oh, service area. Okay, so for each shop, if you have multiple locations, you want to always make your address listed. There is an option on Google that allows you to have a service territory and hide your address. In my opinion, you never want to hide your address. You don't see that with Restylers as much. You see it mostly with service businesses. Like we've worked with, like, let's say electricians, and they don't really have an office. They just go to people's homes, right? So they might have a service territory. Even then, I tell them, try to show your office, even if it's a home office, because Google always prefers to have that map pin with a real address, and you're going to get better ranking, and you're going to get more local business from it. So not only you want to show that, you can also make sure you're clear with what area you're served. So when you set it up, you can say, here's our address, show it, but also there's the counties that we serve. So there's sometimes some options in there, depending on your setup, where you can tell it that, and you just want to make sure you're very clear. And if not, at least put it in your description. Now serving all of X, you know, whatever county, or whatever your range is that you're willing to serve. All right, moving on. All right, be seen, be shared, be cited. Let's talk about this technical stuff just for a minute. Google and ChatGPT trust you more when other websites talk about you. Like you can say, it's just like in referrals, right? You can say whatever you want about you, but if your customer says it, then it's true, right? So if other websites, that means getting listed on directories, building backlinks, and using digital PR. Okay, in this little example, it's really hard to see those, sorry, but in this Autoplex window tinting and truck accessories in Colorado, one of our clients, 62,000 do follow pages, meaning other pages that have put a link that say it's okay to follow, right? And that equals 62,000 pages, okay, currently linked to their website with SEO beneficial links. And they are ranking like crazy now. Now, 90% of all linking pages are do follow, 97%. You can do no follow links, which Google kind of ignores that a little bit nowadays, but still, that's kind of like a selfish link where, let's say I put a link on my website to you, but I say no follow, don't follow. What I'm saying there is like, well, I don't really want them to get any credit. I'm just linking to them. That's kind of not cool to do, but people will do that because they're worried about their SEO. But in this case, they were all do follow links. So that's a strong ratio. Most of your backlinks are helping boost your search engine ranking. So again, just to make it simple, where do you start with all this stuff? Well, we have a service that we use. We call it Yext. It's called Yext. It's a company that I pay a whole bunch of money to every year for all my clients. And it actually sends out your name, address, phone number, and website to hundreds and hundreds of websites that are directories and citations. So you can do it manually, or you could do like we use and use software to help. There's backlinks like local news, blog, and partnerships. We also have services that we sign up for, and it's an agency to, we write up press releases and we have them sent out across the internet every month to legitimate high-ranking sites to get you backlinks. And then there's also event sponsorships or product launches whenever you do anything locally. This is a lot of work, but yeah, it's worth it. If you have something happening in your business that's new, or something interesting, or you're going to go to a car show, it makes sense to mention it. Come see us at the car show. Let's promote it. And you can submit that. And some websites are really looking for new content, and they will post and they will link to you and give you credit. So you can start as simple as some local thing like that, or you could do like we're doing on a massive scale. But definitely get those listings going. And that's going to affect AI. Now, AI generated content's everywhere, but your real videos will stand out. So I suggest this is about winning with real videos and real voices, not AI. YouTube, I think it was earlier this week, maybe last week, just made an announcement that they're no longer allowing AI generated videos to earn revenue in their revenue program where ads can be run and people can make money on it. So you have to have real stuff. Well, that's great news for us because a lot of us love taking before and after photos and short videos of our builds, right? So I suggest you pick a super tech on your team, somebody that's really into it, maybe has a great attitude, and film a quick install walkthrough with them or have them film it, right? And so you want in the field install videos are unbeatable content. When you actually show, hey, we're about to install this leather catskin kit. Let's show the tear out and the rebuild and the put it back in. Let's show it. And so a super tech program idea could be like assign a team member to film it, highlight them. It's okay to give them credit. Hey, this is Bob. He's been doing this for 20 years. Let's watch him, install PPF. And that kind of stuff is magic for the kind of content that AI really likes. YouTube is a great place to put it. Instagram Reels, fantastic. FAQ videos on your website, perfect. So think about how could you start incorporating that kind of content, and you're going to see a big boost in the long run. Okay, let's talk about how SEO and GEO actually drives leads. How does this convert into business? So we helped one restyler get over 600 leads in an average month at about $12 a lead, okay, with 65% coming from organic and map traffic. That's the power of smart SEO and GEO working together. Now, $12 a lead is really good compared to the average cost of what it would be for paid ads, which would be a lot higher. So this is just an example. So what I'm saying is it's worth it. It is worth it. And now getting 65% of organic and 65% of the leads are coming from organic and map traffic. Now that means they have to rely less and less on ads. Now ads are still good. They still have a place. Remember, they're short term, but now they're winning in the long term with the SEO. So it pays to do this stuff. It takes time, it takes effort, but it pays. 217% increase in organic traffic over 18 months. That's a huge deal. Okay. Fatima, did we have a question? Should I pause and take a question?
Yes, we do. Mike asked that what was the software name mentioned for PR directories in the last slide?
Okay. We use something that he's referencing what I mentioned here. So we use a lot of different software for our SEO processes. One of them I said is Yext. We pay for that for our clients and we get a good deal on it. And then we also, that's for normal directories. For PR, we have something called Signal Genesis. It's made for agencies. It might be able to be purchased directly by a restyler as well. And what it does is it helps us to create and maintain the PR, the press releases. Also, I wonder if I can show you an example of this. Where is that? There's a link on this website, for example, called Media Room. And you'll notice that it's a special page, like a directory page, like a hub page, which is kind of a quick overview of the business plus Media Room articles. Now, these are, I don't want to confuse anybody, but we write special articles just for the press releases, which are similar to blogs, but then they may or may not be, they're usually a little different. So this one was about Lumar. So this was an article created about Lumar paint protection film in Hayward. And we created images and wrote a full article, but this one was actually specifically designed to be sent out as a press release for certain industry websites that are looking for content about this topic. So it wasn't necessarily quote unquote newsworthy in terms of like, hey, this is happening or this date, but it was informative and interesting, and it was enough that it was something that was desirable by these other websites, and we optimized it to drive traffic back to this website. So we used Signal Genesis in order to do that, it creates these media rooms here. If I can show that again. Yeah, this thing that I call that we added to the website called a media room. Okay, so that answered that question, I hope.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. We also use Search Atlas. Search Atlas doesn't do PR per se, but they bought that other company I just mentioned. So we use Search Atlas, which now will probably be incorporating that Signal Genesis stuff in there as well. Search Atlas takes a while to learn. It's got kind of a higher learning curve, but it's like becoming the main SEO software that we use. It's very powerful. Another good one is SEMrush. But Search Atlas does a lot of stuff, and they're more up to date on the AI changes. So they have AI features that we use to help optimize websites as well. It's a bit pricey. It is a bit pricey. The reason we afford it is because we're using it with all our clients. And then I met the owner, and they're a great company. They're growing fast. They're relatively new, but they're adapting quickly. Yeah, so that's another software we use. Okay, most marketing fails because there's no strategy. So we talked a lot about technical kind of geeky stuff, but we have found in the long run here over the all of the changes that we're seeing that you've got to have a strategy about your overall marketing before you can really be totally effective at this SEO game or the geo game. Because what you're really trying to do is build your brand with a proper brand voice, speaking to the right customer. You have to really know who your customer is. We call it your ideal client profile, ICP, or you could call it your target market, or you might call it your customer personas or avatars, whatever you want to call it. It's who is the ideal retail customer, or maybe a couple of those segments. Who is the ideal like dealership relationship type customer? What is that sales manager or GM or salesperson thinking? And what is the fleet manager or the business owner who has a fleet of vehicles? How are they thinking? Who are they? What are their demographics? What makes them tick? And you have to know that first so that you can then craft the right core messages that match that. And then that becomes your guide for your content, because we talked about the technicality of like, okay, you got to do all this stuff, but what do you say on those pages? And what do you say in the social media posts? And what do you say on Google? And what do you say in your FAQs? Well, you don't know what to say unless you really know how to match the message with the market. And that's why we always start with what we call strategy first. It's mapping out your customer journey, optimizing your message, and building out what actually converts. So you want to map your full customer journey. You want to build pages before you buy any traffic and run ads. You want to know that the strategy behind that. And you want to understand your top keywords and the competitor gaps. And by that, I mean, what is your competitors doing that you're not, or what are you doing that they're not? Where are their opportunities? And then use all of that in your strategy to figure out what content to create. A lot of times, if I don't show this slide and talk about this point, people will take me wrong and they'll go, okay, well, it's just a list of acts and there's a bunch of stuff we need to do. And so just start writing content and just blast through it, or let's just have ChatGPT write all of our stuff. You can't use it that way. ChatGPT was never meant to be like that. It's an assistant. So in general, you want to think of AI don't think of it as a tool so much. It is a tool, but think of it more like an assistant. If you were to bring on an intern today with no experience, but maybe they have a really good education and they're very fast at research and they're very quick to put together the pieces. In other words, they're really, really good at grunt work, but they haven't the wisdom. They haven't been in the industry for 20 or 30 years like you have. They don't really know the restyler market yet. They don't really understand the customer that well yet. They don't really know the do's and the don'ts, right? The ins and the outs. They don't have that. They don't have any real experience. Well, how would you treat that intern? Well, you would treat them like an assistant. You would be patient with them. You give them a lot of instruction. You give them a lot of feedback. You'd also give them a lot of stuff to study and a lot of research, and you would give them the time to research that and do their homework. And then what you would do is you would give them simple tasks that are very specific. You wouldn't tell it, hey, write my whole website. You would say, hey, ChatGPT, I need you to look at my strategy. Here's my ideal customer. Here's my market. Okay. Here's the way we talk and how we don't. Here's the products we have and the products we don't have. Here's how we do our services. I want you to study all that. And now I need you to write me a blog article or a rough draft for a blog article that is related to Lumar paint protection film in my city using our techniques, and include a list of FAQs. And here is a list of actual FAQs that my customers have given me. Do you see how that's a lot of work in a sense? But think about it. In real life, if you were to hire an intern, bring on an intern or a new employee with no experience, you'd have to do that. Now, you wouldn't expect them to know all the answers. You would just expect them to do the grunt work for you. And then they would learn in that process. And then you give them feedback and they get smarter and smarter over time. That's the biggest mistake I see people taking with AI right now. They hear these strategies. Oh, I'm going to just like crank all this content out. And it's going to be derivative. It's going to be a copy of everybody else's website. It's not going to be unique. And in the end, you're not going to win. So what wins in the future is not just carbon copies of everybody else's stuff. You don't want to take the manufacturer's website and just put it on yours. You don't want to do that. You need something very unique. Well, the only way to do that is, yes, use the AI to help. That's what we do. We use AI as a tool and as an assistant, but we still use our own brain. You've got to use your own brain. And that means the strategy is included in it. And the AI is simply assisting you in doing that work. And so that's what we do. And we're excited about that. And that's my kind of a warning, but also a tip. So it's a tool. Here's how to use it. So use ChatGPT to generate your FAQs. Okay. AI isn't just a threat. It's not the Terminator. Think about it like Star Wars instead of the Terminator, where the robots are friendly and they're helpful, right? It can be your secret weapon. You use it to brainstorm FAQs. You use it to generate blog outlines. Use it to narrate videos. You can even do your own video, and give it the transcript and have it rewrite it into something more useful, right? And you can even analyze review sentiment. We will have the AI go and look through all of your reviews. This is what we do in strategy first. We analyze all of your reviews, all of them, even if you have thousands, and we'll go in there and find themes, and then we will use that data. So that would be a relevant use. ChatGPT is really good for generating FAQs for your pages. Claude is great for brainstorming new service page angles in particular. ChatGPT is getting better at that too in their newer version. That they should be coming out with one. If you've noticed that it's been buggy, it's a lot of people think it's because they're coming out with their latest version here very shortly, like in the month of July. And so it's getting a little weird right before they roll out an update. So that might change the game again. There's one called Synthesia, or for AI voiceovers, and then they can do like some walkthroughs of videos and things. And there's Jasper or Koala for fast blog ideas. If you want to try different tools, that's great. It's kind of, there's so many of these now. There's thousands of them. Pick something that you like and start getting good at. It's what I recommend. And we do training. I'm going to start doing training on AI, by the way. That's probably one of my next webinars. Now, this is the added bonus. I'm super excited about this. For those of you that hung in here this long, totally appreciate it. This is one of your checklists. We have a few checklists for free. We have a workbook that goes along with this too. I'll show you the workbook real fast. So here's a workbook. This is available to everybody on the webinar. We're going to send it out to you. It's going to be a PDF, and it outlines everything that I talked about today and then some. Okay. This is a free bonus. Okay. Is AI recommending you? When people are searching on Google and they see that AI response at the top, or they use ChatGPT, is it going to happen? Well, AI search optimization or generative engine optimization relies on what's called trust signals. So you need trust signals to sell your services. And so this is a great summary of everything I said today about generative, but simple. All right. First of all, there's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 1 are the signals that are essential to getting it to recommend you. Okay. These are the top 5. Number 1, positive verified customer reviews. Never stop getting reviews. Verified positive. Don't hire some company to do fake reviews. You will get caught. It's not a good idea. Number 2, verified business listings and consistent NAP, name, address, phone. Now that's another basic fundamental. And I mentioned that earlier, sending it out to directories and listings and making sure it's accurate and that nobody's hacking it and changing it, right? That's important. Number 3 is high quality, original, helpful on-site content. I'm going to say it again, high quality. You didn't spit out a blog in 2 seconds with ChatGPT and just plaster it in there. That's not going to be high quality. Original, that's not going to be original because it's derivative. It's large language models are really good at copying people. It's just the world's best plagiarist. So you still have to put a human eyeballs on it and do your editing. And then helpful. You also don't want to just spam people with like keywords. That used to be a tactic that it doesn't work anymore. And nobody likes that. You want, when you get online, you want something that answers your questions that's actually helpful and useful. And that's what AI wants as well. And then number 4 is accurate fact-checked information. This one's really hard, especially if you're trying to generate a lot of stuff. But another reason why we use AI to help fact check, by the way, and we have a human being to do it. So what we'll do is, there's AI, ChatGPT has something called deep research, which is an advanced strategy that works. You have to have a paid account for that kind of stuff. And we will use that, and it'll dive into, dozens of websites and find all these and cite all of the work. And it's very useful. But then what we'll use is we'll use another bot that is trained on specific subject matter to fact check the other response. So why would you have to do that? Because AI sometimes hallucinates and makes stuff up. So sometimes we have another AI check the first AI. And then of course a human being should check it as well. So that's another important one. If you're going to write like anything technical, let's say you do, I keep using Lumar. They're not paying me. Maybe they should. Maybe I should ask them to pay me. I mentioned their name so much. So, or CatSkin or whatever. Let's say you're doing a CatSkin article on leather install in your shop, and you're going to use some industry stats, and you're going to use some technical specs from CatSkin leather. Well, you want to make sure that you know that those numbers are right, or those figures are not right, or those processes. So you're going to want to pull it from the CatSkin website, and hopefully they've updated their own stuff, and check with the rep. But then you're also going to want to rewrite it because you don't want to copy them. So that's tricky. And that's what we mean. It's fact checked and it's accurate, but it's still original. And then number 5 is authoritative backlinks and third-party mentions. And we already talked a lot about backlinks and ways to get those backlinks, other websites mentioning you, a PR release, the directories and citations. Those are still essential. Those are just 101 things that aren't going to go away. Now, tier 2, these are signals that elevate you. This is what set you apart from the competition. The number one thing that no one wants on their website is pricing information. And yet it is the number one thing that people are searching for. I could probably do a whole webinar just on this. One reason why, I'm going to do a little plug for Josh, Auto Editions. We're starting to do these more often. So on this, my website, my internet's a little slow, sorry. But you'll notice there's a link called Find My Price on Auto Editions, Josh Polson's site. This integrates with his AAC program, the configurator program, and in Restyler Connect. There we go. And this little area of the website allows people to shop almost like e-commerce, and at least get closer to pricing. Sometimes there's exact pricing or a ballpark pricing. And this type of thing, this pricing guide or answering pricing information, is critical, because this is what keeps people on their website, and it's also what the number one question people are asking, right? Another example I'll show you on Wicked Wraps. They don't have that kind of pricing, but in their chat, their AI chat here, let's see if I can get it to do this. I hope they don't mind. Wade won't mind. I'm gonna show you guys right now. Let's say I'm gonna test this here. Testing. Let's see if I can get it to respond to me. Oh, they've switched it where they're gonna actually reach out to us this way. I'm gonna get a text, so I can't show you that. Sorry. They've moved this offline to texting. I only could show my phone, but I can't do it fast enough, so that's not a good example. But what I'm going to tell you is they're going to respond with a text, and the text is going to be, how can we help you? And then if I say, what does it cost to wrap my vehicle? It's going to say very intelligently, the AI is going to say, well, it depends on your vehicle and the project, and every project's different. However, vehicle wraps usually range in this price for these types of vehicles. So even if it's just generic like that, or on one of your pages, let's see if I can go down to vehicle wrap. Okay. Oh, and I did get it. It says, I got a text. Hey, Jesse, looks like you're testing contact form if you have any questions about Wicked Wraps. Isn't that great? So I got a text. All right. If you go through the content, you're going to find that there's a lot of information on here, and you're going to find things like this FAQ. Now, this one's kind of generic. We probably should add some more information. But even this is better than nothing. I'm telling you, a lot of websites won't even put this on there. How much does a vehicle wrap cost? The cost of vehicle wrap depends on the size of the vehicle, the complexity of the design, and the type of materials used. It is best to contact us for a personalized quote. Now, this is the bare minimum of what you want to have. because nowadays people are looking for price. You want to give them a range. You want to have an estimator, a calculator, or even if you really don't want to put the price, you could say, I'm going to write a whole blog article about why we can't put the price. And here is the factors that go into pricing a project, right? Even that would be better. You want to get that in there. That'll take you to the next level. Nobody wants to do it, but it's really critical. Number 2 is fresh, recently updated content. I've talked about that plenty. Demonstrated expertise and credentials is number 4. Or number 3. Number 4 is interactive self-service tools. I just mentioned that, but it could also be assessments, recommendation tools, surveys, interactive things. Number 5, original human-created video and visuals. That's a big one in our world. Before and afters, walk-arounds, all that. Number 6 is strong user engagement metrics like content dwell time. So this is like, how do you make sure that they stay on the website? Things that keep them there. Number 7 is social proof and user-generated content like video testimonials. That's huge. Having you saw some of the websites I showed that had a widget that showed all of the reviews from Google. That's useful as well. Number 8 is thought leadership content and original insights. This one's trending up right now, and we're not seeing it very much yet on any restyler website because everybody's just trying to get the basics done and just talk about their services. But if you actually have something you wrote up, sometimes people write for Shop Magazine or whatever, or if you write something even on your own website that is about where you think the industry is going, or what are the trends in PPF and protection of a vehicle, that is critical. That'd be really good to have. I mean, anything like that is going to help. All right, now tier 3, we're going to take it up to the highest level now. How do we get AI to find you and talk about you? Here's big trust signals. Tier 3 is signals that enhance, that you've got all the foundation, and now you're like trying to take it another level. Number 1 is clear contact details and robust about info. Now you think, well, why isn't that? How come that's not on tier 1? Well, usually everybody has like their phone number and their contact form and the basics. I'm talking about more information in the about page. Like, who are you really? Who is your team? What's your history? What are your core values? What's your mission? How long have you, what types of projects are exciting that you've done in the past? What events are you a part of, et cetera? And that leads into number 2, which is secure, which is authority, which is secure website, HTTPS with the S on the end for sure. That's kind of basics, but still. But more importantly, to another level, it's similar to that, is trust badges. What's a trust badge? That would be like a logo of a manufacturer, partners that we deal with, or dealerships that we've served. Who do we work with, right? An example of that, it's not a Restylers website, but it is one that we did, which is the SEMA Pro Cup Challenge website. So you look at the SEMA Pro Cup Challenge website, which we actually modeled this off of the concepts of this, which is we want to have more, trust with the authority. It's basically just about the contest that's coming up. And by the way, if you're a restyler, you want to learn about this, try to get a vehicle in it. We would love to have you. We help out with the marketing side. It's a great program. So if you look down here, you're going to see sponsors and all of the badges, which link to their websites. We're giving them backlinks, by the way, which is nice for them. But you can see here's a Ford dealership, a Chevrolet, they're dealerships, there's manufacturers, there's the Restylers. Got to fix that one's a little tiny. Mars of buildings, they need a bigger logo. We'll get that. But you can see that we're promoting them here, but it's also saying, oh, we are legitimate. This website is legitimate. We work with all these people. So that would be an example of, getting that type of trust engagement in it. Okay. So next one that I mentioned, sorry guys, got a little off my slides here. Structured data and schema markup, which makes for easy AI reading. Now that's something that is more technical. Your web developer can help with that. Number 4 is fast mobile friendly user experience. We already talked about it. Number 5 is active owner responses and customer interaction. Respond to every review. You can't just get reviews. You need to respond to people, all of them, positive and negative. Number 6, industry award certifications and badges, similar to the other badges I mentioned. Anything else you can put on there, like your SEMA Pro badge would be good. Logo would be good to include. Number 7 is transparent privacy and ethical practices like Now, HIPAA compliance is for medical, but this is a recommendation for in general, but data protection, et cetera. You want your terms of services, your privacy policy, all those things that are in there. And even just your, your code of conduct, or if any of that is important for you to talk about with clients. So that was a lot. Those are tier 3, and those are all included on our checklist for you. And if you want to see where you rank, we'll run a free audit. Your current ranking, site speed, Google Map presence, and even ChatGPT visibility. No pressure to buy anything from us, but we offer that. We just want to give you clarity. We'll do a free audit for you. All you have to do is request it and give us a little bit of information. We'll go and provide all that for you. So at least you have a checklist that you can give to your team, or you can do yourself, or if you need help, we can do it for you too. So thank you guys very much for being here today. You can reach me at my email there, jesse@autostylemarketing.com. You can book a call with us on the autostylemarketing.com website. I appreciate you being here today. If there's any other questions, I'll hang around and answer them for a few minutes. And we're right at the top of the hour, so I also appreciate and respect if you have to go. So Fatima, do we have any other questions in the chat? Or if you're still live with me, you can come off mute and ask a question that way too. Small enough group that it's okay.
Yeah, Jesse. So this is Mike Faraday at Kohl's Products, North Haven, Connecticut. We make molding and trim. We are a SEMA member. I had a question regarding, how to, increase backlinks and help to drive up that authority score. I've been doing SEO research for about almost the last 4 or 5 weeks now, trying to figure out what my next steps are going to be. And, one of the things I did notice from the different reports is a lack of backlinks as compared to competitors and people in the same sort of industry as us. And I have no idea really in the way in which to go after backlinks. I was just wondering if you had some experience with that.
Yeah. We covered some of that in the webinar, but it was kind of spread out. So let me consolidate it. There are a lot of ways, okay? There are some kind of what I call block and tackle or basic fundamentals that we just do for everybody. And then there's more advanced ways. So the basics, which we mostly just talked about the basics here. The basics were like, you want to make sure that you're on the directories. We use a software called Yext, Y-E-X-T. We use other softwares in the past too. We have a bunch of them, but that's a service that we pay for. You can pay for that, and it'll put you out on all of those directories. That is a form of backlinks. That's a very basic level though. Those are good, but I don't stop there. We usually don't stop there. We start there. You also want to make sure all the basics, like your Google business profile and all your social platforms, are all set up properly. Just basically make sure you've cleaned house first with the basics, okay? Yep. Because all of those websites that link to you, that have your website, those are all backlinks, right? They really are. Even Facebook linking, like I said, Facebook, in the profile of Facebook, it has your website in the right place. That's a backlink. Now that's the basics. We want to cover that. The next one up would be, like I mentioned, those press releases are a really good way, because those are something you can do consistently. Like I said, we're currently using Signal Genesis through Search Atlas. That is a software. There's many others though, or you could do it manually. Like you can search for places to submit articles to. That would be another way to do it. So I would say that would be like the next level up. And then now the next level up, we get to the real high level. Now we get to more like sophisticated, harder work, but even better. This is where you actually manually, you can hire people to do this. We do some of this work in our agency, or you could have somebody, you could do it yourself. You could have somebody do this for you, but they manually are looking for places to submit good content that's super relevant to us as restylers and manufacturers and aftermarket. Okay. So in other words, for example, if you can write for the Shop magazine, or if you could write anything for SEMA or SEMA Pro that gets posted anywhere, even if it's like, hey, I've written an article, I think everybody needs to read this, check it out. And they go, yeah, thanks. We'll accept your submission 3 months from now, whatever. And if they're going to put it on a website or on a blog, or even mention it, or maybe you even, another strategy I've seen is, you come up with a great idea for an article or content, you pitch it to them, and really you'd be surprised. Everybody is hungry for content. It's not like they have so much they don't know what to do with it. They want real content from real people. So if you have anything from your your side of your perspective, and have confidence in yourself, because you see things from a perspective that other people aren't. You might think, well, I don't know if I'm an expert in everything. Well, you don't have to be. Just be an expert in what you're selling and what you guys are doing. There will be value there. You can then pitch that to them, shoot them an email. Like, they usually have a submissions page, and you can say, I'd like to submit this article. Or at least I would like, maybe I can be a part of another article. Like, hey, if you ever, you can also ask to be like, hey, I would like to be an expert authority in this. If you ever need anybody, if you're ever writing something and you need to check in on something from, you know, what we do, please contact me. There are websites where you can submit to the press. And the one that's on my mind, slipping my mind, I used to go to it all the time. But if you search for, like, you know, submit to become an expert for the press, for media, you can actually get on a list. And if they have an automotive related question, they'll go to you. Now, you might get contacted from things that aren't relevant to aftermarket, but that's okay, because anytime that you are listed anywhere on a legitimate website, a quality website, and they give you the citation, they say your name and your business and hopefully link to your website. Anytime that happens, as long as they're not a spammy site, you know, like some sort of underground thing that's cheating the system, if it's a reputable, normal website, that's going to help you big time with backlinks. So that last one that I mentioned is the best one. It's the highest level backlink you can get. The downside is it takes a bunch of work and time. Or you got to pay
I
somebody.
appreciate that. Thank
Yeah.
you, Jesse.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Any other questions?
No, that's really the one that's been nagging me the most, because it just, you know, like I said, when I compared it to other sites, you know, we were significantly lower in backlinks than others. So,
and if you want us to help, we can dive into that for you and give you more specific instructions. Just reach out and we'll help you figure that out.
all right, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Dino. Thanks for joining us. Saw him join.
Trying to unmute myself. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really good.
Hey, I got to tell you, and I let everybody know, you didn't pay me to get on here and say this, but in the short time we've been working with you, we were very impressed with how everything's going with our company. You really have learned so much about this industry. I've been in it for 40 years, and I'm amazed on how much you and your team have pulled together and how useful you are in helping us get to the next level, because we're always looking to get to the next level, right? So anyway, I just wanted to say that. So I wanted to sit in and listen, and thank you for everything you've done so far. And we look ahead to some great things from you and your team. So thank you.
Thank you, Dino. I appreciate you saying that. I got to take you to lunch at least.
No, you don't owe me nothing, sir. And hey, you're right about the Pro Cup. There's nothing more rewarding than shipping a vehicle to SEMA and be able to stand around and show people what you're capable of and sharing ideas with other restylers. So we're getting our submission in this week. So
oh, awesome.
yeah.
We want to do those videos again. We want to do a lot of marketing and promote that to help. I actually think it helps the industry, just getting the education out about the industry too, even for, you know, anybody that's listening to this right now. Dino's talking about the SEMA Pro Cup Challenge. SEMAPCC.com has all the information. Even if you're not have a vehicle in it, just participating in keeping up on it and sharing it is going to get your dealerships and other customers excited, which then it just gets the awareness up, which gets the excitement level up. So I think that it really helps the industry. It helps all of us, even if you're not in the contest itself, to promote the contest. Because like what Dino's doing there, what are you guys going to submit? Do you know yet? Are you still thinking?
Gosh,
Secret?
I haven't said it to anybody yet, but
okay, it's okay. You don't have to say it.
Hey, I'll tell you, I'm not 100% sure we're going to make it happen. We're pushing for a Cybertruck.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
well,
yeah, no doubt.
So
and I don't know if anybody knows, but to work with Tesla directly is like pulling teeth. I mean, they are a whole different ball game than any other dealer in town. So we're working close with them. We're going to work hard to get a Tesla to the SEMA show, because we had some great ideas for one. So, but this will be our fourth. This will be our fourth time in Pro Cup if we indeed get selected. And you know, our dealers around here all know that we do it. They're excited. They all want to be part of the deal. So they love when we come back and they can advertise that they have a SEMA built vehicle on their show floor. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So
that's great. That's fun.
Thanks for your
Well, that's-
time. Thanks for your time, and take care, guys.
Yeah. Thank you guys for being on
Appreciate it.
today. Really appreciate everybody joining. And yeah, if you have any other questions, you can find us at autostylemarketing.com. And we will also be at SEMA. I will be at the SEMA show at the Pro Cup Challenge shooting video, and my team will be there, some of my team, and we're excited for that as well. So thank you guys for your time today. Have a wonderful rest of your day.